time. And the funny thing is, fun little anecdote for you to sort of give a little bit of perspective. I was watching it on cable at a party actually, and the the cable connection kind of went out, and we still had internet. And I actually downloaded TuneIn Radio, or I already had TuneIn Radio on my phone. So I was listening to the live stream sort of in the background while the TV was going. And so the cable, for some reason, just cut out and we couldn't see the game anymore. And it was really annoying because it was it was close-ish at that point. It was like 10-7, I'm wanting to say. Broncos 10, Panthers 7, somewhere in that range. And it was pretty close. The stuff was going on. Of course, Broncos defense was crazy that whole game. Did you see Talib? That guy, his face masks were nuts, man. Like, it was way out in the open. I was surprised that they let him get away with that. But he's kind of cool, actually. I thought that was kind of neat. He just grabbed that guy's helmet. Was, gee, you nuts, man? You're gonna get caught. You're gonna get fined $50,000 or whatever they fine people these days. But no, the live stream was much more reliable than the cable stream was for some reason, just because the cable is spotty, especially when you have a heavy load. And that's something else to keep in mind when we're talking about streams is under heavy load, they tend to be unreliable, especially with cable and fiber connections. Now, granted, we were on charter. We were watching on a charter connection, so it wasn't maybe as good as you would want, but it was still, you would expect reliability out of it, and we didn't get it. So the best way to listen, I found out, was actually on the TuneIn Radio app. Just search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you could listen to it live. If you were one of the guys who watched it, you could actually watch a live stream of it on the NFL website and on CBS's sports website, which I think is sports.cbs.com. Where it was streaming live visually, and it looked really good, much better actually than the cable stream did, believe it or not. Even though they were both HD, the cable stream actually looked just that much better. The internet stream looked that much better than the cable one did for some odd reason. So you using Periscope? You definitely need to, because Periscope was one of the best apps I've used in a long time, actually. And I was a skeptic of Periscope for a while. When Periscope launched, I thought it was really bad. I was using it. I was like, this is a stupid app. It's never going to take off. It's boring. It doesn't work very well. The streams are unreliable. All these different reasons I didn't like Periscope initially. But in the last few months, it's actually gotten really good. And that might have something to do with Twitter's involvement in Periscope. I don't know. But Periscope is basically Twitter for video. It's really nice. It works amazingly well nowadays. And the fun thing about it is you can see all these different streams from all over the world, not just the country, but all over the world. This is useful, especially when it comes to news. So let's get out the Periscope app real quick. And if you don't have it, let's go to the App Store. And this works for both Apple and Android, which is what I'm using, by the way. So let me go real quick to my App Store here and launch that real quick here. I've got like 40 million apps installed right now, so I got to search here for Periscope. Periscope, that's Periscope, the Periscope app on your smartphone. There we go. So now I'll install it or open it since I've already got it installed, and you can do this with me. Let's hit the install button, give it a few seconds to install. It's not a very big app, actually, surprisingly, because what it does, all it does, you'd think it'd be much bigger than it actually is, but it's only 13.5 megs, which is not very big at all. Most people, I think on average, most people have about an 8 gigabyte phone. I wish to heaven that they would give more storage space on phones. I don't know why they charge so much for so little storage space. Nowadays, you could stuff a terabyte of storage in a phone easily, but for some reason they don't do it. I don't know why. For some reason, everyone sticks with the same memory chips, and then it seems like it's capped at 64 megs for some reason. We could easily go 128, but they don't. I don't know why. Again, it's ridiculous. But most of us are stuck at either 4 or 8 gigabytes, and it's really annoying. But fortunately, they're optimizing apps nowadays so that most apps you're going to get are really small. The exception to that rule, by the way, would be games. Usually games, especially the social media type games like Trivia Crack, which is really fun. I play it all the time. Farmville, which I don't play. Age of Empires, a social app for that. The Sims, especially, is huge. All those apps are going to be in the 10s to 20s to hundreds of megabytes. Very big. I don't know why. It's just they're very bad at optimization. There's lots of reasons why those apps are so big, but they're very large, unwieldy, unoptimized, very slow apps. Usually those games are, especially Trivia Crack is huge for some reason. It's like 80 megs. There's no reason for that. It's so simple. There's just zero reason for it to be 80 megs. It's ridiculous, but it is. So you got to deal with it. But Periscope is a great app. I've got it installed here on my phone. Maybe you've got it installed by now. So let's launch the Periscope app here real quick. And there it goes. Now you should be greeted once you launch it. First off, with a login screen, obviously. So log in and make your account and everything. You can sync it up with your Twitter account if you already have one. So now that we've launched it, you're probably on the TV tab, which is the one in the upper left-hand corner. So now this gives a recent list of streams from people you're following on Twitter, which I'm following quite a few people on Twitter. So quite a few people are streaming. There's a stream that's sponsored from the NFL and from the Denver Broncos. So commercial retailers are already picking up on the Periscope app. But let's go to the map. So go to the middle left and tap on the little globe there. Oddly enough, no streams in Greenland. Who'd have thought? So we can zoom in. It sort of zooms in automatically, sort of. It centers on the US. So you can pinch to zoom like usual. So we'll sort of pinch out and zoom in on our area. And actually, there are two streams already right now in Chattanooga. There's one from a guy who's climbing a cell phone tower. That's interesting. And there's a stream of a guy who's talking about team leadership in Ottawa. Don't know why, but hey, why not? So let's look at the guy who's climbing the cell phone tower. That's kind of cool stuff, right? And man, why is he climbing a cell phone? I guess he's a technician. Maybe he's a vandal. Who knows? But he's climbing a cell phone tower in Harrison, right off of Highway 58. So all sorts of fun stuff you can watch on Periscope. It really is a great app. I love it so much. You can watch all sorts of different stuff going on. People just doing mundane things. It's kind of like slow TV. Like, there was that TV broadcast of a boat, I believe, going across the Bering Strait. And then there was that live stream of a train. There was that live stream of a train going through, I believe, either Finland or Sweden that got millions of viewers on television. People sponsored it. It was a huge event. I don't know why. I mean, it's some sort of psychological thing. We want to watch just mundane things. It's like the Yule log that gets broadcast on TV. It's just one of those things where for some reason we just want to watch stuff like that. I don't know why, but we do. There must be something psychological going on about why we want to watch these otherwise boring and mundane things. And I wish I knew what it was, but there's just something about it. If I could just do a boring, mundane show and get away with it, that'd be the best thing ever. But right now, I'm watching on Periscope a live stream of a guy who's standing on a building in Harrison, I believe, right off of 58. People are commenting on it, and it's really great stuff. And of course, today's a really clear day. Aside from a few clouds out there, today's a very nice day, aside from it being very cold. Right now, the temperature I want to look at real quick here from the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center so we get an update on what the weather's doing is 51 degrees. So it's actually a pretty nice day. Today's supposed to be a lot colder than it was yesterday, and there is a chance of rain later on in the day. The big thing that we have to worry about, though, is that block of snow, which looks to be happening about 8 p.m. today. So keep that in mind if you're going to be traveling, and temperatures are going to be sub-zero for all day tomorrow and most of the day Wednesday, if not all day Wednesday in some areas at higher elevations. So that's your quick weather update from us here at the Weather Center at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Periscope is a great app, though, for sort of lifestyle, right? Like, it's just a fun thing to watch, to get an eye on what's going on in our area, because it's hard to be, I don't know if connected is the right word, but it's hard to feel connected sometimes with Chattanooga, because while Chattanooga is a great city and there's a lot going on, sometimes, especially if you live in the outlying areas, you feel not really disconnected, but you just feel like you're not in the in, right? You're not in the know on what exactly is going on. So watching a Periscope stream can be a good way to figure out where the party's at, or to figure out what's going on downtown, or what have you. Because a lot of businesses actually will do Periscope streams. And that's kind of the fun thing of it. A lot of businesses nowadays are picking up on the whole Periscope thing. So you see lots of businesses doing Periscope streams nowadays. And that adds to the fun factor. Is you'll see a local business doing a promotion on Periscope about a sale. Sometimes some businesses will do Periscope only specials, right? Like if it's, say you come in and say you saw us on Periscope, you'll get a special deal, that kind of thing. It's really, really amazing stuff. Just today, or not today, sorry, a few weeks ago, we did a promo with P5 Preparedness, one of our sponsors here at Hot News Talk Radio. And Duke, of course, has a show every Thursday, the Patriot Prepper Show. So definitely check that out. But we did a promo with him actually on Periscope, and he got some business out of it. They got quite a few viewers. People were asking about his website, which is p5preparedness.com, of course. People were asking where his store was located. Lots of good stuff. It's in between 75 and Gun Barrel on East Brainerd Road. So that's where you can get to P5. It's in between Gun Barrel and 75 on East Brainerd. So it's easy to get to, although it is sort of on an off highway, or not sort of an off straight, like a side street. That's what I'm looking for. You'll see the big Army truck there though, and you'll be able to find it pretty easily. So great store, lots of good product in there. Lots of particularly I like the sandbags actually, because those seem like they'd be really useful. And they're only like 85 cents a piece, by the way. So sandbags are a P5. They got tons of them. It's good to stock up just in case, because you really never know. That's the thing about preparedness, is you really just never know. And there are apps that can help you stay in the know. But let's say that some disaster happens, like there's an EMP, right? The theoretical EMP, or there's been some sort of cyber attack, to use buzz phrases. There's been some cyber attack that really we can't possibly have foreseen as regular folks. Even in media, we can't foresee these sorts of things. So what can we do to, say, stay updated? Well, generally speaking, in the terms of an EMP, your cell phone's not going to work anymore, right? Like your cell phone is it's fried. Too bad. But in terms of, say, a cyber attack against the networks, even then, if you can use GPS, you can find out your location. There are lots of compass apps available on your smartphone that can help you get oriented. Now, nothing can beat, in terms of survival, nothing can beat a physical map, which you can actually get at P5, by the way. But if there is the instance where there's been some sort of disaster and you still have cell service, you can use your map to get yourself oriented. All you have to do is open up Google Maps, and there you go. And you can actually get step-by-step directions on Google Maps too. One of the things I really love about the Google ecosystem is just how each app sort of seamlessly flows into each other. So say you have Google Photos, you can move those photos over to your Google Drive, and you can access all of your photos on Drive. And if you have Google Drive, you can access your photos through there. Google Drive is an amazingly useful app, by the way, for basically everything, from file storage to photo storage to keeping PDFs available. It's amazing for that. And actually, keeping PDFs available is one thing that I use Google Drive for a lot. Back when I did the evening newscasts every weekday here at Hot News Talk Radio, I did the evening newscast at 5, way back when. I would keep my show notes in form of a PDF, which I would store on Google Drive. And it was really useful because I could get it from my phone. If my phone crashed or the battery died, I could get it on my computer. It was just really useful. And Google is great for that sort of thing, for just productivity, for planning out your day. Okay, I'll give you an example. I need a reminder to work out because I'm bad at remembering things. Frankly, I'm terrible at remembering things. I forget to wake up in the morning sometimes, and that's embarrassing. I'll forget to drive home sometimes, and that's also kind of weird. I forget all sorts of little things that I really should remember, but I don't. So I have to plan out my day on my phone. And it's so easy to do with Google Now. And you can do this with Siri as well. It's not a Google exclusive thing. If you have an iPhone, you can do this with Siri, which is built in. And on most Android phones, Google Now is also built in. But all you have to do is go to your home screen. And if you have Google Now installed, all you have to do is say, okay, Google, set a reminder for 11:30 to come back to the show.
Okay, do you want to save this?
Yes. And now I have a reminder saved. Stop talking. Now I have a reminder saved to come back to the show, because otherwise I would completely forget. I'd go back to my show, or I'd go back to my computer. I'd be working on other things, and then my bed music would play and I would forget what I'm doing. Actually, that wouldn't really happen, but in the rare event that it does, now I have a reminder saved to come back to the show. Also, I have a reminder saved every day to do different functionalities, different maintenance things on the computers here. I have reminders saved for every day to make coffee in the morning. I wish we had an internet-enabled coffee maker, by the way, so we would start making coffee as soon as I walked in the door. That would be nice, but oh well. So I have reminders saved for all sorts of little things like that, and it makes life so much easier. Instead of carrying around a day planner in a briefcase, I don't need to do that anymore. Most people, most entrepreneurs, younger people, the millennial businessmen, these guys all have smartphones, and they plan out their days almost entirely, if not entirely, on their smartphones. Say they have a conference call at a certain time. They'll set a reminder for that. Say they have a meeting at a certain time. They set reminders for that. Say they need to buy flowers. They'll set a reminder for that. You can set reminders for when it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, if that's a thing, Valentine's Day, which everyone forgets. I forget. We can set reminders for all these different things. Like, say, just little incidental things. Incidental, it's not a word. Little incidental things. I can say, okay, Google. Come on, Google. What day is Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day is on Sunday, February 14th, 2016.
Good to know. So, so Valentine's Day is Sunday, February the 14th, which is very useful to know because otherwise I would have forgotten. So now I know that February the 14th, which is this coming Sunday, by the way, in case you write it down, put it in your phones. This coming Sunday is Valentine's Day in case you forget, because I definitely would. So keep that in your phone so that you don't get yelled at later for not bringing home flowers or what have you. Because that would definitely happen. So keep a reminder in your phone for these sorts of things. And you can ask now, or you can ask Google now, or you can ask Siri all sorts of little questions that can help you out. Like, for instance, you ever forget who's in that movie has that guy in it? And it was released in like 82, I think, but I'm not sure. You can ask Google now, and it'll tell you 9 times out of 10. Now, something to keep in mind about Google Now and most modern voice services like Siri is you don't have to talk to it like Captain Picard talks to the computer on Star Trek, right? You can ask it regular average Joe questions that don't require special phrasing most of the time. Like, you can ask Siri or Google Now a question that you would ask a normal person. Like, say you want to know where a restaurant is. Let's say you want to know where Harvest Grocery is, or man, where's a Walmart, or where's Whole Foods. You know, all these different questions you can ask Google Now. Like, say, okay, Google, where's Harvest Grocery?
Here are the listings for Harvest Grocery.
And see, now I can get a listing for it, and I know exactly where it is. And it's easy. It's just as easy as that. Say I want to get directions to a pizza place. I want to get directions to somewhere else. I want to know where the nearest gas station is. Okay, Google, where's the nearest gas station?
Here are the listings for gas station within 0.4 miles.
So I can see now that within less than half a mile, there's a BP where gas is $1.46 a gallon for regular, which is really dang cheap, by the way. I filled up my tank today, or didn't fill up. I got it halfway on $10.50. So about $10.50. I managed to get my gas tank of my Buick LeSabre all the way up to a little over half, which is really good. $10 for the week is really nice. I only spend about $10 a week on gas, which is amazingly nice nowadays. And I don't even drive anything close to an efficiency vehicle. So if I had, a Civic, I'd be doing probably $10 for 2 weeks almost. It'd be great. But instead, I'm stuck with a boat. So I got to put money in it like you would put money into a boat. Oh, well. Cars are investments, though. They're not necessarily always expenses. Cars are more of an investment because you need them for everyday life. But anyway, I digress. The nearest gas station is away 0.4 miles away from here, and you can find out that information easily just by asking your phone. You can find out nearly everything. In fact, you can find out, okay, Google, what was the score for the Super Bowl yesterday?
Denver Broncos beat Carolina Panthers 24-10.
See? So you can find out all that information just by asking. And Google has a lot of listings for different sports events too. It's not just NFL or NBA. You can ask all sorts of different questions like, okay, Google, what was the score of the last NFL game? And it actually tells me the same thing because the last NFL game was the Super Bowl. So there you go. But let's say, NHL or, whatever you want. You can do curling if you want. It'll tell you all this different information. It's amazingly simple. It's amazingly easy. And it all just kind of works. I really like the functionality of Google Now and Siri too. It makes life so much easier. It's funny to think about too, because when you think about modern society, things have gotten so much easier just in the last 5 years, not even the last 5, last 3 years. We're going to talk about making your life that much easier in just a few minutes here on Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
What are you going to get your sweetie for Valentine's Day? I'm going to Carter Shooting Supply.
Carter Shooting Supply?
That's right, Carter Shooting Supply. They're having a great sale on all of their guns right now, and it's name brands like Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Springfield, their AR-15s. They've got the hottest gun in the land right now, the Sky 9mm. Man, it comes in all the cool colors. If you're an Alabama fan, they've got crimson. If you're a big orange fan, they've got an orange one. You know, all the women are loving the pink one in Tiffany blue. Plus, it has a lifetime warranty replacement. If the gun is stolen, all you need is your police report or receipt, and they'll replace it free. It has a 60-day full money-back guarantee. That's Carter Shooting Supply. They're in Harrison right there at 6210 Highway 58.
Are they online?
Yes, they are. It's cartershootingsupply.com, or give them a call, 423-344-1099. Now, this sale's not going to last too long, so you need to hurry up and get there. And they do have a great indoor shooting facility. You can get your Tennessee handgun carry permit also. That's Carter Shooting Supply, 423-344-1099.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at SabrinaRealty.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Little, candidate for criminal court judge with 25 years of criminal court experience, which makes me the most qualified candidate. The experience I have gained from handling over 4,000 cases in state and federal court has equipped me with the ability to be fair, impartial, and independent. As your next criminal court judge, I will focus on keeping Hamilton County safe. I view this position as a public service and will strive to improve the daily operations of court. I humbly ask for your trust and vote in the March 1st Republican primary.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mike Little, Barry Abbott, Treasurer.
You have an event coming up. Maybe it is your daughter's wedding, or maybe just a church or office party. Then you need to select Choo Choo Barbecue. That's correct. Choo Choo Barbecue. Whether you like pork, chicken, or beef. Oh, yes. Choo Choo Barbecue with their savory rub flavor. Oh, my goodness. It's making me hungry right now. You add in their delicious smoked aroma, and you have set the table for a perfect meal with Choo Choo Barbecue. That's right. Choo Choo Barbecue. Why don't you give them a call right now? 423-843-9554. That's 843-9554. Call 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue. You know where it's located, off of Hickson Pike, right there at the Valley Brook area. Don't kid yourself. Your stomach is already on the way.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. The Cleveland City School Board of Education met this morning at 7:30 to discuss the replacement for Martin Ringstaff, the former director. They chose Kathy Goodman, who's now the interim director. She was formerly second in command in the school system. The interim appointee cannot be made a permanent replacement, so a new director will have to be found. The motion to appoint her was passed unanimously with very little discussion. The 16-year-old boy who was shot in the head in East Ridge on Friday has died. Monserrate Ferrer died at Erlanger Hospital following the incident. Another 15-year-old juvenile boy was at the scene of the shooting. He was arrested for aggravated assault based on an initial investigation. The suspect was taken to the juvenile detention unit for processing. Gene Wegg and Pamela McNabb have both been charged with arson by the Chattanooga Fire Department after they say they broke into the Brainerd Trophy Shop and set fire to it after stealing a company van and several other items of value. Other charges are pending. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect lots of sunshine out there through the afternoon. Not as breezy, but still quite cool. Highs upper 40s. Tonight, fair. Lows back into the upper 20s. For Saturday, a few passing clouds, still dry. Highs 50 to 52. Back into the 50s Sunday, much colder on Monday. This forecast is brought to you by JCPenney. Get what you love at the prices you love, only at JCPenney, and download their app for coupons and to sign up for JCPenney rewards, available at JCPenney. And I'm 1412 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Ward. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go. You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
11:32 is the time here at Hot News Talk Radio. I'm Russell, and this is Binary here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. So you want to sell something and you don't want to have to use eBay, right? Because it's not that easy. I mean, it is, but it's not that easy all the time. Plus, you don't have to deal with the whole auction thing. You want to sell something at a price where you want to sell it at. You don't have to deal with the whole bidding thing, and then you got to deal with PayPal, and it just makes things complicated, and you don't want life to be complicated. Well, there's an app that's been getting a lot of press. It's been getting a lot of advertisement too. Wallapop is what it's called, WALLAPOP, which is a really odd, complicated name. Sounds like it's from Australia or some other backwater, but it's called Wallapop, and you can sell basically everything on it. I'm seeing houses being listed, for heaven's sake. There's like, there's a Ouija board too, which is probably cursed. I don't know if I'd buy that for $30. I don't know. It's from 72 as well. Ugh. I don't like the 70s. But Wallapop is good for selling and buying different things locally too, and that's the big catch of it, is that everything you buy is local. There are different things being bought and sold just a minute away from you sometimes. There's someone who's buying, or someone who's selling, I should say, a bowling ball. Here's an iPhone 5S for $100. I don't know what's wrong with it if they're selling it at $100. There's a table, there's a couch, there's shoes. I don't like buying used shoes, but there's that. There's hiking boots. There's a keyboard for tablets. There's fishing rods. There's all these different things. This is like the death knell for the garage sale, basically. The whole mentality of the garage sale is going out the window, which is a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your stance, but it really is going the way of the dinosaur, because people are not necessarily comfortable with having other people on their property. I know I'm not. I don't like the whole idea of that. So Wallapop is good for selling things without having to worry about a bunch of people trampling on your flowers, which is really annoying, or stepping on your bike and bending the spokes, which happened to me actually, and I killed the guy for it. They never found his body. But you can buy and sell things on Wallapop super easily, and it makes things, again, it's one of those things that makes life that much easier. Apps are for that very purpose, making life that much easier, although sometimes the process making life that much more complicated. But apps are for making life easier. Instead of having a million different websites we go to, most people nowadays, especially younger people, have a million different apps they use, which, you know, there's trade-offs, good things and bad things about it, but that tends to be how it is. People have lots of apps that they use instead of different websites that they use. And it's, you know, it's a change in paradigm. Life these days is not the same as life was in the 90s or the early 2000s. It's just a lot different nowadays. So Wallapop is good for buying and selling things. It has both an app and a mobile website, so you don't have to use the app. You can also use the website if you want to, but you can use the app for ease of use, I guess. And you can use it with PayPal or your credit card, which makes it, again, that much easier. PayPal's been going through some problems, by the way. PayPal actually had a Super Bowl ad, which is surprising considering all the lawsuits. I'm surprised they could afford that. But yeah, hey, if you want to listen to the police scanner radio, there's about 4 million different apps for it. But the one that I actually usually do it on my computer, but the one that most people use for listening to the police scanner is one called 5-0, you know, like Hawaii 5-0. So if you like listening to what the cops are doing, which who doesn't, you can use the 5-0 app on your phone. and that way you can listen to the police scanner. It's usually called Police Scanner 5.0 or just 5.0, depending on what platform you're on, be it iPhone or Android. But you can use it to listen to what the cops are doing as long as it's open, because sometimes they'll actually close it. But I really like listening to the Chattanooga Police Scanner because there's lots of stuff going on. Like, for instance, I was listening not too long ago when there was that fire underneath the city, right? When there was that manhole cover that the EPB lines started burning up, which was weird, by the way. I don't know why they did that, but there was a fire underneath a manhole, and listening to the police scanner on that was really fun, because listening to them respond, listening to them coordinate, listening to them move around is really interesting. Anytime there's a major event, like say what happened not too long ago in California with that naval hospital, the Navy hospital, where there was the supposed hostage situation going on, which then turned out to be supposedly nothing, although not much has been said about it. Listening to the police scanner was really interesting, because initially they would say stuff like, there's someone holed up in pediatrics with a gun. And then they say, oh, wait, actually, it was just a doctor with a syringe. So it's interesting to see the process of what they're going through when they're clearing buildings or just on average everyday patrol. Because sometimes, honestly, being a cop sounds kind of boring most of the time, actually. It seems like it's a whole lot of sitting around doing nothing, and then suddenly something major happens and you have to rush to respond. So I wouldn't want to be a cop. I'll put it that way. I wouldn't want to do it. So there's a lot of use for using a police scanner. Obviously, you can use it for finding out what's going on, and you can get the news firsthand that way too. Most people in the news business listen to police scanners. I don't know of anyone who's a serious news person who doesn't at least sometimes listen to a police scanner to get the news. So it's a great way to get the news, and it's a great way to it's just a great way to stay aware of what's going on, especially if there's something happening in your neighborhood. Like, say you see sirens, or you hear sirens and you see lights going down your street, you can real quickly get out the 5.0 app, and you can that's 5-0, by the way, not 5 like literally 5.0. It's 5-0, and you can listen to the police scanner and find out what the heck is going on in your neighborhood. A website, by the way, for that, a website that lists all the active responses that are going on is hc911.org, and I use that a lot too. hc911.org. It stands for Hamilton County 911. Click on the active incidents link, and then you can see all that's going on in the area. Most of the newest responses will get listed there. Not all the time, because sometimes there are things that are not really confidential, but things that are more sensitive that they don't list. But you can see the address of different things that they're replying to or responding to, I guess. If you're wanting to know where the International Space Station is, because who isn't, I guess, you can use the ISS Spotter app, which is really good for that. And it used to be actually that the ISS had a ham radio beacon, and they still do. But now you can find them, a little bit easier than that. It's called ISS. There's two of them, actually. There's ISS Detector, and then there's ISS Tracker, and there's ISS Detector Pro. ISS Tracker is free, and it shows you where the ISS, the International Space Station, is actually going. It shows you the wavelength, sort of, because the ISS, it orbits on what we perceive to be a straight line. But if you look at a flat map, it looks like a curve. It's weird how that works out, but it's actually technically going on a straight line, but it's actually going on a curve if you look at it on a flat Mercator projection app. It's weird to explain, but anyway, it shows you live where the International Space Station actually is, which can be really useful if you're just wanting to see when it's overhead. You can see it with your either your naked eyes, or you can see it with a telescope. So you can actually see what the boys up in space are doing. And actually, just recently, I was reading about how up in space, they were growing a bunch of different plants, and they had actually successfully germinated several plants up in space, and they've been growing rather interestingly. They've been working on growing actually edible foods in space, which is a weird concept, growing food in microgravity, because it's just, it's weird to think about. There's just a whole lot about space and growing things in space and what they're going to do on Mars. It's just really, I don't know. There's just something not really unsettling, but there's something that just weirds me out about that. I don't know what it is. There's just something skeevy about it. But there's a lot going on in the world of in the world of media players, actually, the one that I like to use anyway on Android is VLC, because it tends to play kind of everything, and it plays network streams too. VLC is really good for playing both video and audio and network streams too. So VLC, it stands for Video LAN Project. Ripple's another good media player, but VLC tends to be the one that I use anyway. So VLC is great for that. It works on iPhone and Android, and it is not very big at all. Let me see what the file size is for VLC. It's not very big. Let's see. I think it's like under 10, I'm pretty sure. Oh, 13.43 meg, so about 13.5 megabytes. Not very big at all. It's a very small app. It works really well for playing videos and networks, and you can actually access files over the network with VLC. So what it does is you can actually share a folder on your computer and watch a video file from that computer on your phone. So that makes it a lot easier to say, if you've got a movie on your computer, say you downloaded it and you want to watch it on your phone, you can actually do that with VLC, which makes it that much easier to watch videos. One that people keep recommending is MX Player. I'm not sure why people want to use MX over VLC. I just don't like MX nearly as much as I like VLC. There's something simpler about the interface of VLC that makes it more appealing to me over MX. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that I'm just used to VLC. Maybe that's it. It's because I've used VLC for years and years and years. Since like the mid 2000s, I've been using VLC. So I guess I'm just used to it, but it's just one of those things. But police scanners are great for checking out what's going on in your area. So again, the 50 app, which is actually called 50 Scanner, or Scanner 50, depending on if you're using a Android phone or an iPhone, because there is a difference between iPhone apps and Android apps sometimes. Some things that'll be on the iPhone are not on Android, which makes it a little bit confusing. Hey, if you're wanting to scan business cards, because, man, sometimes it's annoying to manually input all the different information from business cards. Let's be honest. And no one likes to do that. No one likes to manually put in all the info from a business card that you get. And, you put it into your contacts and you put that contact into your business folder on your contacts. It's just annoying. If only you could do that automatically, except, oh, wait, you actually can. There's an app that's called, let me go back. There's an app that's called CamCard Free that will actually scan business cards. And with that, then you can put them into your contacts immediately and automatically. It's really nice. I use it all the dang time for scanning business cards and putting them onto my phone. And you can do this with business cards. You can use it with any type of business card. I've never run across a business card that it doesn't scan properly. So it just works really well. And the fun thing about it, too, is that it syncs across devices, meaning if you set up an account with CamCard, you can access those contacts from your computer. So say you have a business computer, you can get to that info from that machine that you scanned from your phone. So you can use your phone as a business card scanner, and then you can use your computer to access it at your business or your office phone or your office computer or what have you. So it's really useful. I've got pretty much every business card scanned into my phone, so I don't have to keep around, a big stack of business cards held together with, elastic, and it gets unruly. It gets confusing. It's like, it's the modern Rolodex, basically. That's one more thing that the smartphone's replaced. It's replaced the Rolodex. It's replaced the TV for a lot of people. It's replacing the movie theater for some people too. It's replaced basically everything. It's kind of crazy how many things the phone is replacing, the smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, you really need to get one. If you're a business and you don't have an app, you need to get one too. Businesses, especially business people, need to get smartphones, especially if you don't have one yet. You really need to get the smartphone. It coordinates your business. It makes life that much easier. You can communicate with people in higher quality than a landline ever could. You can text people easily. You can message people easily on Instant Messenger. You can conference call with them with Uber or Skype. It's just really great. And business or conference calling is one of those things that most mobile phones nowadays handle with no problem. You can do conference calling with one person to another. You can daisy chain calls. It's just that much easier. Again, it's one of those things where the smartphone makes life so much easier. Hey, Evernote has like a kind of a suite of apps, SUITE. It has sort of a suite of apps. And one of the ones that I really like is called Evernote Scan. And what Evernote Scan does is kind of just that. It scans documents. And with it, you can actually use that for scanning documents to your phone so that you can then have them in your phone as a PDF. So you can generate PDFs from actual physical documents, and from then you can use those as PDFs to compile or for what have you. Great for corporate espionage. But Evernote has a scan option. It's called OSD technically, but you can scan documents with your phone on Evernote, and then you can have them compiled onto your phone that way. And with Evernote, another useful thing about it is you can log in with your computer to your Evernote account, and then you can access the Evernote. You can access your Evernote account and use your files from there onto your computer, so you can write together a more cohesive. There we go. That's the word. A more cohesive document. So you can write, say, minute notes on your phone at a meeting, and then you can write out a detailed essay on your computer from Evernote. So all you need to do is have an Evernote account, which you can use your email address to log into. And then from your computer, you can access those documents you've made with Evernote, and you can edit them. You can do all sorts of things. You can add images. And you can put together news articles that way pretty easily. Or you can put together essays for school. And you can actually record voice notes as well with Evernote. Let me log into my Evernote account here real quick, and I'll show you what all the different things you can do. So I'm in my Evernote account right now, and I have actually Wi-Fi passwords saved in my Evernote account. So I have a list of Wi-Fi passwords so that I can get to them from phone to phone to phone, because oftentimes I'll have a phone and I'll change phones to a new one. Say I had an old Lenovo A850 way back in the day, and it was a good phone, but it got old. So I bought the Moto G, which I have now, and I'm looking to replace it pretty soon here too, because I need more memory. So I'm going to be getting a new phone. But the thing is, my Wi-Fi passwords don't carry over from one phone to another. Really annoying. So all I do is I use my data plan to get to my Evernote account. I use the document of all the different Wi-Fi passwords. I download that to my phone, and now I've got all the Wi-Fi passwords accessed on my phone. So say I'm going to a friend's house, I forgot his Wi-Fi password, I've got it stored in Evernote so I can easily access it. Say I'm at a friend's house and he won't tell me the Wi-Fi password, but I did have it before. I can use it for that. Different businesses, my house even, I've got the Wi-Fi password saved on my Evernote account for that too. It's all just very easy, and it's not even just as easy, it's functional, because it's not just a matter of convenience, it's a matter of just having it there. It's function. It's amazing. I really like Evernote for that. And Google Maps, not Google Maps, Google Notes, what am I doing? Google Documents will do the same thing, by the way. So if you have Drive and Google Docs installed on your phone, you can use Google Docs to make new notes, and you can use those to save your Wi-Fi passwords. You can make minute notes. You can make voice recordings. On Evernote, if I tap the little plus symbol in the lower right-hand corner, I can start up a work chat. I can add attachments to documents in the form of pictures. I can use my camera to take a photo. I can even write notes with my finger, and I can set reminders on my phone as well, or just start up a regular old vanilla text note as well. So it makes things so much easier than having a pen and paper with me everywhere. Because I used to do that years ago. I used to have a pen and paper with me everywhere I went. And now there's not much of anything, there's not much of any use for that these days. Oh, by the way, the TBI just gave us a report here that a missing teenager has been found. There was an Amber Alert just a few minutes ago for a child who went missing. Constance was her name, sometimes went by Gabby, and now she's been found by the TBI safe and sound. So if you got that Amber Alert in the very early morning, now you don't have to worry about it, because the child has been found safe. So the TBI has located the kid, and so there's no problems anymore. So that makes things that's a nice little end to a potentially rather tragic story. So I'm glad that that's over. Now, another good app is called Alfred. And one of the things that it does is it's a home security app. So what Alfred does is you can set your phone somewhere, and you can use your smartphone as a home security camera. And what it does is, if you have, say, an old phone and you don't really know what to do with it, keep it plugged in, install the Alfred app on it, and set it up in a corner. And then it'll detect motion for you. It'll detect changes in light. It does all these different things, and it's a home security camera. So if someone breaks into your house, you'll know. We have one set up ourselves around here. So you can use it to access it from a remote location. So you can use one phone to log into the other phone that has Alfred running on it, and you can see what's happening. It's not just good for home security, it's just good for checking up on say your kids. So use it as a baby monitor. Instead of shelling out hundreds of dollars for a video baby monitor, which a lot of people do, you can just use an old phone setup to do that same purpose instead. And it's really useful. And the nice thing about it is it's free. You don't have to pay any extra money. It does have in-app purchases, but otherwise it's free. And it has ads that it runs on it, obviously, but it's free, which is the nice thing too. There are lots and lots and lots of free apps that normally you think, oh, I got to pay for them, but no, actually they use ads instead to generate revenue. So you're probably not even going to notice the ads on these different apps, but that's how the different manufacturers of these apps will generate revenue. So it's a great way for them to keep money in their pocket and for you to use an app that's great without having to pay extra money. That's why actually Angry Birds, believe it or not, Angry Birds is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. It has its own movie coming out. Angry Birds is worth a lot of money, and it gets most of that from merchandise and from ads and from in-app purchases. But the game itself, Angry Birds, you don't have to pay anything for it to play it. All you have to do is watch the ads that are on the app. It's weird how that works out. It's all ad-based. It's all kind of like radio, actually, where you don't have to input anything other than just listening to the ads and going to the different stores you might even go to already and say that you heard about them on Hot News Talk Radio. Coming up next, by the way, on Hot News Talk Radio is Colin Cowherd. He's on from 12 to 3. He's the Rush Limbaugh of sports. He's got it going on, man. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of Super Bowl talk. I can't imagine we're not going to hear a lot of Super Bowl talk on the Colin Cowherd Show. Going to hear a wrap-up of the Super Bowl as well on Clutch of Keon Rose from 6 to 7 here on Hot News Talk Radio. After Colin, we've got Sean Hannity. He's on from 3 to 6. Mike Gallagher is on from 7 to 9. And you have American Now with Megan McCain, Ground Zero, and Coast to Coast AM with George Noory, all right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Get the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone, and you can listen to us there anywhere in the world on the TuneIn Radio app and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Keep it tuned.